Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the C Gap. Chris and Chase here. We're going into week 3 of the NFL. Lots of injuries this week. We're going to go over all that. We're going to go over the injury report, who benefits from these injuries, and then just our best picks for the week. So let's get into it.
All right, let's start. Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. I think the biggest one in that game is probably Julio Jones being questionable. But I think he'll probably be good to go. It's just hamstring. But where do you want to start on this one?
I think this is going to be a great game to stack both ways. If you want to go with the Matt Ryan stack, that's a great way to go. I mean, the dude's going to throw for 40 attempts every game. He's going to have 300 yards every single game in the year. And even with Julio being questionable with a hamstring injury, Julio's probably going to play. But if he doesn't, even if he does, Calvin Ridley's still going to get the targets. I mean, they are the number 2 and 3, I think, top priced receivers on the slate, which is insane. They're on the same team.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine with me. Even Russell Gage, if Julio doesn't play, Russell Gage is a good play at 5,100. He's been getting a lot of targets. I didn't think that was going to continue, but especially if Julio's out. I mean, Matt Ryan's going to throw Russell Gage the ball. And I mean, Hayden Hurst at 4,700 in tight end. Usually I like to go under 5K with my tight ends, and I think Hayden Hurst is a great play this week if you want to stack. But what do you think about Trubisky this week? Because I think it's interesting on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcons, their defense is okay, and he's kind of found his rhythm a little bit. I mean, Anthony Miller and Allen Robinson, there's 2 pretty darn good receivers. So, I mean, you could stack either one of those. But yeah, I don't mind Trubisky this week at all, especially because he can use his legs.
Right, exactly. And I mean, if you want to get a value play at quarterback this week, I mean, Trubisky's 5,700. That's gonna, and if you want, and the receivers aren't that high either. So I mean, if you want to go low with the Bears lineup and then run it back with Ridley or Julio or even Hayden Hurst or both, a mix of 2 of them, I think that's fine too. So a lot of good fantasy value in this game.
Definitely. All right, so the Rams at my Buffalo Bills. I think the biggest one for the Rams is Cam Akers is out.
Right.
Malcolm Brown, he had like Monday or Tuesday off, but he's fine. So it'll be Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson as the running back tandem for the Rams. And then the Bills, Dawson Knox is out. Not a great play, but I think the biggest thing is Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano because of Tyler Higbee. Milano's covered really good coverage linebacker, and Higbee just had 3 touchdowns last week. So if those guys don't go, I think you should play Higbee almost no matter the price.
Yeah, I mean that could also impact their run defense. So maybe it's going to be hard to tell whether Henderson or Brown get the bulk of the touches on that offense. I think that's a weird offense for running, especially with Akers being out. It's literally going to be a mix of both. It's going to be like an Austin Eckler, Josh Kelly situation, which I also hate.
Right.
But I agree. I think Higbee's a great place. If they're out, I expect the Bills to score in this game, and that means the Rams got to throw the ball. And I think their secondary, Tre'Davious White's going to take out Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp is also a good play in this game. But I think Higbee is 5,900, which is a little pricey at tight end. But I think you could stack this game if you wanted to with a Higbee, Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff, or you could go with Josh Allen and then maybe Diggs or Brown, and then run it back with Higbee. And then you could try to save some money somewhere else if you want to punt at another position. That's fine. I think you can definitely do that in this slate. With this slate, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Like, you can fit in anyone who you want with all the injuries out there. I think that this game also has a lot of good value, but definitely want to target Josh Allen in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he'll run the ball. Maybe not Diggs because he'll have Ramsey on him, but John Brown, I think he's been good the last couple weeks, so maybe that's not a good value play.
Yep.
Washington football team at the Cleveland Browns. You've said it before. It's really Logan Thomas on the Washington football team.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And with Denzel Ward, I expect Denzel Ward to go to Terry if Terry lines up on the outside, and if not, what's Greedy Williams on the injury report?
He's out.
He's out? Okay.
He's out, yep.
So, if McLaurin's lining up in the slot a lot, I love McLaurin. But if he's going up against Denzel Ward, 2 very fast guys, I think Denzel Ward's one of the better corners in the NFL. I think that's a good matchup. But then again, 8 targets and 9 targets in week 1 and 2 for Logan Thomas, and only 4 catches in both games. So it's not Logan Thomas's fault. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It is an issue with Haskins' accuracy. But if Haskins can get him the ball at a 60 to 70% completion rate with tight ends who usually are more open on their targets, if he gets you 6 catches for 50 yards and has very high touchdown upside, he gets a lot of red zone targets, you're looking at 12 to 15 points without a touchdown. And if he gets a touchdown, you're sitting at that 20-point range. I think Logan Thomas has a very good floor, and he has a ceiling with touchdown upside. So I think he's a safe play in this game. And he didn't even go up that much. I mean, he's sitting at 3,700 on DraftKings. I think that's a beautiful play this week. And if you want to,
definitely.
I don't really like stacks this week. I think Nick Chubb is just a beast, even against that D line though, and with the split work that he gets with Kareem Hunt. I mean, I don't really like going with the Browns running game, and I really don't like the Browns passing game. Odell has shown signs from last week, but I still don't like the Browns offense. If I'm going with anyone in this game, I'm not stacking it. I'm going with McLaurin or Logan Thomas.
Definitely. I think that's really good points there. Las Vegas Raiders at the Patriots. That's a good game. Raiders offensive line is just a little banged up. Josh Jacobs, really, really good. You had him last week.
Oh, yeah.
And Patriots, James White's out. David Andrews is out. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I think N'Keal Harry, I think he's kind of a wild card this week, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, someone who has a quarterback like Cam Newton who likes throwing to big receivers, like Kelvin Benjamin when he was on the Panthers, and I think N'Keal Harry is a beast. He's not the most skilled player out there, but he gets a lot of red zone targets. Like they will throw him fades, and it's the Patriots offense who likes to do like the problem is they're very slow paced, but with Cam Newton you kind of can't be slow paced because he's such a dynamic quarterback. I think a stack with this game would be beautiful.
Totally.
If you wanted to, if you want to go with Cam Newton in a mix of Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry, and then run it back with Josh Jacobs or Darren Waller, go for it. I like that. I like that a lot. But I don't think there's much outside of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Waller, he'll kind of be almost probably played like a receiver, with the good Patriots secondary, but he'll still get his targets. That's a fun game.
Absolutely.
Bengals at your Eagles. Eagles not really getting healthier.
No, they're even more banged up.
Reagor
had surgery. They're going to place him on IR, so he's going to be about 3 weeks. Jeffrey, don't even get me started on Alshon Jeffrey. He just needs to not be on the team. Just release him, cut him. I don't care. But if this isn't a week where Wentz goes for 304 touchdowns and has a perfect QB rating, I don't know what to do. I think that this is a great game to stack. This game could get out of hand and they could score 50 points total in this game.
Right.
And I think Burrow is going to do great against this defense. But I think one of the best plays this week at running back is Miles Sanders. And he's only 6,400, which I think is very undervalued for someone who's going to get 20 to 25 rushes and get 8 to 10 targets. And especially with Deshaun Jackson as their number 1 receiver, and then it goes Greg Ward and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I don't see anything in the receiving core, but I mean, Goddard and Ertz are going to get their targets. As you said earlier, they're on pace to score. They're on pace to have 100 targets each.
Something like that.
That's insane.
120.
Yeah, but I mean,
Crazy.
Sanders is going to be a good play. If you want to stack Sanders, Wentz, and then a tight end, and then run it back with AJ Green or Tyler Boyd. But I mean, honestly, one of the more attractive plays is Drew Sample. I mean, he's sitting at a very low price right now of 3,500 on DraftKings, and as someone who likes to go under 4K on there and really punt at tight end, I think Drew Sample is a great play. You saw when Uzomah got hurt, Burrow just checked down to him almost every play. And I mean, I think he's going to get a lot of targets against the Eagles defense, who just let up 3 touchdowns to Tyler Higbee.
Yeah. But I think once, if you kind of want to go a little crazy, I mean, this could be a big bounce back week.
Absolutely.
So, if you want to live on the edge a little bit, I think Carson Wentz would not be a bad play with one of the stacks you mentioned.
Yep.
49ers at the Giants, banged up running back rooms.
This is just a bad game in fantasy. This is just not a good fantasy game.
Dion Lewis and Jerick McKinnon are the starting running backs, which, this 2020 is not, a couple years ago.
Jerick McKinnon is probably the only worthy play of this game, in my opinion. But, he could end up being a very good play against the Giants defense blows. They suck. The Giants are not a good team this year. And Jerick McKinnon is, one, very good out of the backfield and actually can run the ball pretty decent. Mm-hmm. And with Nick Mullins at quarterback, who is a good quarterback, he's going to be checking down a lot. And I think Jerick McKinnon could end the day with 7 targets, like 5 catches for 50 yards, maybe a touchdown or maybe a touchdown on the run. It depends how they use Jeff Wilson on the goal line. And we're worried about that. But, no, what do you think about this one?
We've talked about before Jordan Reed. That's another good one. Kittle's out, so he's a good play. They like their tight end. I think he's probably their number one receiver too, with all the injuries they have.
Absolutely.
But Dion Lewis isn't a bad play either for the Giants. Because they just signed Devontae Freeman, so he'll get the bulk of that. He's barely practiced with them. He'll get some receiving targets, some rushing targets. So that's not a bad lower value play, but it's not a very attractive game.
No, not at all.
Titans at the Vikings. AJ Brown's out. A little bit of banged up secondary for the Vikings. You like Adam Humphries.
Dude, he was the play last week. He had 15 points. And if you're getting someone at 3,400 last week scoring 15 points, that is literally saving you on other positions where you can just get high value receivers with a lot of volume and get 30, 40 points. And I think that, again, is another week where you fade Corey Davis because he's not a number one and he does not do well. And you go to Adam Humphries, who's 3,900. And if you want to stack Tannehill, Humphries, and Derrick Henry, who I think is going to have over 150 rush yards this week against a Minnesota defense who just doesn't seem like they want to play football. They're terrible. Their defense is horrible, and Kirk Cousins isn't too far behind them. I don't like
John
anyone.
Smith had pretty good too.
John is a beast this year.
Yeah, I think probably Adam Humphries is the play because of his value and what he did last week. So they'll still find him the ball.
Yeah, if you want to run it back with Thielen, sure. I just don't like Minnesota's offense. I had Thielen last week when he had 3 catches for 31 yards. I just don't like Minnesota's offense. I don't even like Dalvin Cook in this game, to be honest. I just don't trust it. James Robinson did okay running against Tennessee, but I don't know. I'm staying away from Minnesota right now.
Yeah. No, I think those are good calls. Texans got the Steelers. I think you stay away from the Texans just because Deshaun Watson is and how much is he surprised
good that defense is.
Yeah.
They have the best defense in the league. There's no doubt in my mind that the Steelers defense is going to destroy Deshaun Watson this week.
Yeah.
But I think this is a game that you can stack on the Steelers side for sure. If you want to go Ben Roethlisberger, I think that's a really good way. He's not going to have the rushing upside, but the dude's going to throw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns every game.
Yeah.
It's Ben. He's back. And he has a very good offense, and he has the number 1 targeted receiver in the NFL. Deontay Johnson is just putting up absurd numbers in terms of targets and receptions, and I don't think he's going to slow down. Last year he was more of a deep threat, but now he's just get me the ball. And I think he's a great play at only 5,400. His price still hasn't gone up due to his volume. And if you're getting someone like that with that volume for 5,400, please put him in my lineup. He's a great play this week. If you want to, I think you could definitely stack Ben, Juju, Deontay, and then run it back with maybe Brandon Cooks or even David Johnson out of the backfield. I'm probably going to be doing that in my lineups this week. I'd stay away from Ebron. I don't think Ebron's getting that much attention in this offense. And then I'd stay away from everyone else on the Texans side.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's just the volume. You could maybe the Duke Johnson or I'm sorry, David Johnson. Mm-hmm. Well, they have Duke Johnson, but I think David Johnson, he's receiving running. But I think the Steelers are the much better fantasy draft play this week.
And Juju's got so much touchdown upside. The dude just finds his way in the end zone and just is always open. I love Juju Smith-Schuster. But no, that this is a great game to stack on the Steelers side.
definitely. Jets at the Colts. Really nothing to talk about for the Jets. The most unexciting team in football, the worst team in football. I don't even think there's a single play I'd even want to think about.
The only one I would think about is just a low value play and going with Chris Hogan. He's 3,700. They're without Berrios again. Berrios this week. Perriman's out. Crowder's out. Chris Hogan's right now is they're going to be the number one receiver, and he got a lot of attention last week. Big, not really his big surprise is Chris Herndon was not involved at all in the pass game, which was weird. He's usually just pass blocking, which is so weird because he is very talented at tight end, and they're not even using him. So I think Chris Hogan's good if you want to get a low value receiver at 3,700. That's fine. But other than that, there's no one in this game besides maybe Jonathan Taylor. I think the Jets have a decent run D, but Jonathan Taylor's a stud. And then your guy Pittman, you said he was going to be involved, and he definitely looks like he's going to get a good amount of targets.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jack Doyle's stepped back, so it hurts a little bit, but Paris Campbell's out. So I think Pittman, big target. I think he could be a pretty good play. But I think the best play for the Colts and probably the best play in the game is Jonathan Taylor.
Yep, I would agree.
With his upside running the ball, even out of the backfield. So Panthers at the Chargers. I mean, you know how you feel about the Panthers defense.
Once again, they didn't fail to let up a lot of yards and touchdowns to running backs last week, but this is a key spot for Austin Eckler to have his breakout game. No Tyrod again. We're going to go with Herbert.
Another good play. I like that play a lot.
I do too. I think you could definitely stack this Chargers team with Herbert, Eckler. If you want to go Josh Kelly instead of Eckler, I'm fine with that. I like that as well. He's going to get 20 to 22 carries, I think, every game. They're really trusting him with the ball. Yeah, he's getting the goal line touches. Now, unless Eckler breaks one off, I don't think he's getting rushing touchdowns. He's pretty much at the receiving upside, but I think he has a lot of that. And I think look for Keenan Allen a lot this week. I mean, he's a huge target, or Hunter Henry. I think anyone on this Chargers offense is a viable option this week.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I think that's really good. Yeah, Herbert may be the best value play football this week. He can also run, and he's got some good targets. And Eckler, he's got a good supporting cast. So, I think anyone on the Chargers, Christian McCaffrey's out. So,
I mean, Herbert's 5,900, which is he went up a lot, but I think he's still a good play this week. I mean, against a Carolina defense who just sucks. He's definitely a good play.
Yeah. Cowboys at the Seahawks, that'll be a fun one. That could be,
highest total this week.
This
is going to be a shootout, as is every single Falcons game.
Yep.
And Seattle game. Both of those teams are the two teams that you want to stack against because they just let up a lot of yards and scores, and the other team has to, and they score a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that anytime you have a Dallas-Seattle game or anything with Atlanta, but you just stack it. If you have to ask, who do I stack, you stack it.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's the receivers in those games. I mean, the Metcalfs and the Watkins and Gallups and the Coopers. On the road, so maybe not Cooper's not the best on the road, but I think you can't go wrong with Metcalf now. Don't you stop him?
No, I think this is a game where you can have Russell Wilson as your quarterback, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. I think that you can play both of them in any game. Lockett's going to get more targets. They're probably going to get around the same targets, but Lockett's going to be that underneath guy, and he's going to go to Metcalf twice or three times a game deep against a very beatable Dallas secondary.
Yes,
that Calvin Ridley exposed. But I think a sneaky play for this week, sitting at 5,500, is Michael Gallup, who hasn't done much this year. Every time he makes a big play, it gets called back. But he's sitting there at 5,500. I think it's going to be a game. We saw games last year where he just explodes for 2 touchdowns and 150 yards. I think he very well could do that this week. So could CeeDee Lamb. The Seahawks gave up 179 yards to the ancient Julian Edelman last week. Young man like CeeDee Lamb could feast. He could feast.
I mean, the secondaries aren't very good, so I mean, ball's going to be thrown around a lot in this game.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of a fun one to watch. It's 425. Hope that's a national game.
Yep.
Next, we got the Buccaneers and the Broncos. I think you stay away from the Broncos. I mean, Melvin Gordon, he'll get most touches and targets probably, but Bucks have good defense. So I think it's on the Bucks side.
I don't think Gordon's going to do much. He might have 5 or 6 catches, but I don't think it will amount to anything. Tampa has a very good front D line, and I don't know. I don't see a lot of value in this game besides Font on the Broncos side. Font's just he's not even going to – he might not even be that good of a play, but he's just going to get a lot of targets. So if you want to go with volume, if you want a volume play, go with Font, because I think he is going to see 8 to 10 targets in this game. But what he does with them, I'm not sure. And do I trust Jeff Driscoll to actually get him the ball? We don't know that.
Question.
Yeah. But, I mean, the Tampa side, I don't really know about how I feel about playing Brady. I don't think I like playing Brady at quarterback just because he's kind of similar to Ben, but yet again, he's not going to throw as much as Ben and very kind of more slow pace. But I think Godwin and Evans are a good play in any given week. They're both studs. Right. Unless Mike Evans is against Marshawn Lattimore, who he just can't. That's his kryptonite. Play both of them. We saw games last year where they just scored 40 points each. And I think I think both of them are in a good spot this week against a banged up Denver defense who isn't that good against the pass anymore.
Yeah. No, and I think, even less Brady because, Fournette, he had 100 yards last year, right? So, he's kind of getting his footing there. So, they could go up early and then they could just run the ball. So,
definitely.
Fournette's a pretty good play.
Yep.
Still don't mind Ronald Jones. But, yeah, I think it's all Buccaneers in this one.
Definitely.
Lions at the Cardinals. Still Cardinals in this one, too.
Kyler Murray's the best fantasy quarterback right now. And D-Hop's one of the best fantasy receivers right now. He's getting D-Hop, he's not even running routes. He's just catching the ball at the line of scrimmage. And it's ridiculous. The way that they're using DeAndre Hopkins is just get him the ball and let him do his thing. And, Kyler Murray's he had 13 rushes for 91 yards in week 1 and 8 rushes for 67 yards in week 2, and he has 3 rushing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray's his floor is just so high. There's no way you can't play him this week. And I think he's still undervalued in this game as well. He does not have a high price. And for someone who is sitting at 6,800 at quarterback, I think it's a no-brainer. You have to go Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. It's an easy stat for me. And if you want to go Andy Isabella with Kirk, Kyler likes to throw deep, and he's a very accurate deep thrower. I think that Andy Isabella could catch a 50-yard touchdown this week. But
totally.
I would stay away from Kenyon Drake. But what do you think about the Detroit side?
Not a great Cardinals defense. They just have a lot of running backs, so I don't really love any of them. Maybe T.J. Hawkins. He's had a good year.
Yeah.
But just still don't love the Lions in this one.
Yeah.
I think Hawkinson's probably maybe the best player for the Lions, and probably because of his value.
Yeah, I think if Galladay plays, I think Marvin Jones is interesting because he will not be seeing that Patrick Peterson matchup. But other than that, I don't go with a Detroit running back because Arizona is going to score. T.J. Hawkinson's 5,300. I think that's a little too high for a tight end for me.
Yeah, I think that's
but
high.
If you like paying up for good tight ends, I think Hawkinson has really good upside this week. He has a pretty decent floor. He's going to get probably 6 or 7 targets, and he had 100 yards last week. So yeah, he could definitely be a good play.
Yeah, I think it's that Cardinal stack in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was it for the main slate, the 1:00 games. So yeah,
we got the Sunday night here, Packers and the Saints. Saints have really struggled without Michael Thomas. So I think the only play on the Saints side is probably Alvin Kamara.
Absolutely. We saw Jared Cook. I put some money on Jared Cook last week, and it did not work out because Brees just can't do anything without Michael Thomas. Without Michael Thomas, there's just so much attention on everyone else. No one else can shine except for Alvin Kamara. He's the only star besides Michael Thomas on that team. And I think Drew Brees even is going to struggle even more. So I think this is a game where you throw in every single Packers player.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers, Devontae, Scantling, or Lazard. And then also Aaron Jones, because they could go up big. They could go up big, and he'll just do what he did last week and just explode for 3 touchdowns and
Yeah.
200 yards. He's an animal, and he'll also get 6 catches. So I think all Packers, if you're going to run it back with anyone, it's going to be Kamara, and I think that's it on the Saints side.
Totally. Yeah, he's been really explosive, catching the ball, running the ball. So I think, Kamara does a really good running back battle there. Sunday night game. And then the Monday night game, another good game. That could be a shootout. Chiefs at the Ravens. You could go any which way.
You can pretty much do anything you want with this. You're going to be in the captain showdown mode on DraftKings, and usually my strategy is you got to go with a low captain. You got to, because they're so expensive. You got to go with someone low so you can get everyone else. So I think a good low value might be J.K. Dobbins, or even he might not even be that low. But this game is going to shoot out. There's just no way this doesn't shoot out. The 2 most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL against 2 not great defenses. I really don't think the Ravens defense is that good. They haven't really proven that to me this season.
Yeah. No, I think, it's, if McCall Hardman or maybe DeMarcus Robinson, there's probably 2 of the lower 2. I don't know what their prices are, but, with that offense, anyone could be crazy high.
Right.
But I think it's probably Dobbins or those 2, or
maybe Boykin.
Maybe Boykin. Yeah, totally. But that's kind of a funny one. It's just going to be a shootout. So
obviously both tight ends are viable plays in any given day. Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce are 2 elite tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sold on Hollywood Brown. I just don't think he's not getting the volume that I want him to get, and he's not converting his targets. So I'm not too high on him.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of mouths to feed on both sides in this one. So kind of buyer beware. But it'll be a fun game to watch. Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, that's it for week 3. If this helped out, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week, and good luck in DraftKings.